all great responses. Next question is, there is a huge amount of information available to student athletes and their parents regarding do's and don'ts of college recruiting. If you had to basically condense that list into a top 3 areas of interest, what would those top 3 things?
Do campus visits. Make sure you go on a campus visit, whether it's going to be an official visit and the school is paying for it, or you're coming up after your official visit and going back on an unofficial visit. Make sure you go see the campus. Don't fall for, again, the communication or the virtual videos or the virtual tour of the locker room or strength and conditioning room. Go see the campus. If you go on an official visit, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to link up with a student that's already there and possibly go to at least one class throughout the day to the life of a college student. So again, encourage campus visits. Make sure you go, if you go on campus visits, make sure you go see admissions. Because again, being an athlete, you're going to have 2 sets of requirements, your eligibility requirements as well as your college admission requirements. 9 times out of 10, they're going to be different.
And I can give you 3 that dovetail right into each other. Know what you want to get out of the experience, start early, and know what you have to do to get there. Know what you want to get out of the experience, and that really is directed to your son or daughter, the recruit, because they're going to be the ones that are going to live on campus for 4 or 5 years. They're going to take that class load. They need to figure out what they like and what they don't, and like I said, what they want to get out of the experience. I can't express enough how valuable athletics can be in terms of leveraging that into a college education. This is a wonderful opportunity for mom and dad not to have to pay for college, but for son or daughter, the prospect, to enjoy the sport that they love while setting themselves up to be successful for the rest of their lives. It's a fantastic situation. But the earlier you can recognize that this is what I want to do, and you can put the work toward making it what you want to get, or setting it up to get out of it what you want to get out of it, the better off you're going to be, and the easier it's going to be to get to where you want to go. Because there are big schools and small schools. There are all sorts of majors out there. There are a million different ways to do it. And for college football, there's about 1,000 universities playing college football. Not everybody's going to go to Virginia Tech or UVA. As, gosh, I can't remember if Larry mentioned it, Division II, Division III opportunities are fantastic. They don't all come with athletic scholarships. In fact, Division III is grant money, financial aid, academic scholarships, but you better believe there's a lot of schools out there that can find money if they want you badly enough. And it's okay to say, look, I went to Christopher Newport and I have my degree in accounting and I played football, and that's the other thing I say about what you want to get out of it. Some people want to be a superstar. Some people just want to continue playing sports. You may determine once you've gone through the recruiting process, you don't even want to play sports at all. You just want to go and be a college student, and I say that's fine too, because what your ultimate goal should be is to get the college education and set yourself up for a great adulthood and to use sports and use that college education to be a better person on the back end of it.
And agreeing with what both of the panelists said, it's also an important thing to keep your options open. Don't snuff anyone because they may be a lower Division I or Division III, because there's money to be had at each level. Although Division III doesn't offer athletic scholarships, they have other grant and aid to take care of athletes and offer some great experiences. That's very important. Don't be sold the world without really, and what I mean by that, it's a business. Colleges, they want you, and not to say they're great coaches, but as we see all the time where there have been NCAA violations or what have you. So make sure that it's important that your student athlete and yourself do the research, going on the college visits, making sure that they have your major, understanding that it's not just that I'm an athlete. Remember, it's student athlete. So wanting to put yourself in the best position so that you have the grades to get into because there's only so much that a college is going to be able to do. They may give a little bit of leeway here or there, being a student athlete, but you still have to have the grades to get in. You still have to apply to that college or university and submit an application.
I remember talking to a kid, this is probably about 10 years ago, who signed to go to a school in Virginia, a major Division I school, and never visited the campus. I asked him, I said, because I asked him, well, why'd you choose a school? And I'm waiting for him to say, oh, I visited the campus, it's really beautiful. We talked for 10 minutes, he never said he visited the school. He went to the school and was miserable. When I was going through my recruiting process, I went to a school called Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. It's Appalachian. I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. It was a culture shock when I went there, but it was the most beautiful place I had ever been. And what I realized there was, I'm not going there just for athletics. I'm thinking about beyond that. As one kid said, it's not just about the 4 years there, you think about the next 40 years. So when you choose a school, you gotta make sure it's a place that's gonna, like they said earlier about your major. Make sure it's, the school's in your major. And Ohio University at the time was ranked in the top 10 in the country. So when I went there, I saw the school, I had my questions lined up for the athletes as well as the coach about how can this place be good for me. That's the same thing you should tell your athlete, the same thing. Have questions, honest questions that they, make them squirm if you have to, but ask them, how long, the coach, how long do you plan to be here? You have so many kids now who go to school, don't go to school because of a coach, because that coach could be gone, and then you're stuck there. It just happens, it happens every year. So you gotta have your plan about what you want to do. So you have your questions lined up about, what can you offer me? What about tutoring? Just the whole line of everything that you want. So make sure, that's the key thing to me is when you visit the school, have your questions lined up about what they can do for you, because you're a piece of meat to them. I hate to use it as slavery, but they own you. So they tell you what to do. So when you go to that school, you make sure you get something out of the school. That's why I would tell people, when you go talk to coaches, find out what they're going to do for you.
Interesting question, and talking about the do's and don'ts and all the information that's out there. And there is a whole lot of information out there. As you listen to what the panel is having to say, they're all touching on different topics, and that topic in itself expands. So the top three that I came across that I think has some merit to it, but not to say I could just list it at them three, and those three being the end-all, be-all, three top areas. I say academics. Every athlete has to stay on top of those academics. Conversation is over if the academics ain't right. And if that is something available for every kid to hear, I say it over and over and over every time, and give myself a little cheap plug. Doing my show I do every Sunday night at 9:30, plug. Doing my show I do every Sunday night at 9:30. Mr. Keith Wright, who was a graduate of Harvard University, at the end of the little piece that he sing, that little rap song that he put together for me, he said he's making smart cool. So in other words, he's letting you know it's okay to be educated. It's okay to have that education. And I said he came from Harvard University, just to stress that point. So he understands the importance of education. So I say education is at the top of my list of some of the things that our athletes have to stay on top of, and we have to stay focused on. Next thing I would say is exposure. If they're really and truly going to chase this here dream of theirs, parents, we got to make sure that they get the exposure. Without getting that exposure, then you can sit here and be the top athlete here in the city of Chesapeake, playing over here at Great Bridge High School, right around the corner. But at the end of the day, if nobody knows you exist, then what good is it doing? So we have to get that exposure. You have to be able to get out and about. And, I've taken my son down to North Carolina, up to Maryland, down to South Carolina, out to Georgia, different places just to get that exposure, just to be seen. I've traveled with other families doing the same thing, just for that exposure. Last but not least, and this is to the athletes, you have to be coachable. Out of all that information out there, nobody ever talks about being coachable. And I'm quite sure everybody on the panel will agree with me. If you're not that child that the coach want to deal with, then you ain't going nowhere. You're going to be sitting at home watching the cartoons with me. And I ain't got no problem with that, as long as you get up and take the trash out when I tell you, so everything's all right. But you have to be coachable. So the top three that I say is your academics, exposure, and being coachable.
It's all great answers. I know I'm not on the panel per se, but I like to add a couple of things for myself. Being a coach and having to go through this, I have kids at Ohio State University, have a kid committed going to Notre Dame next year, have kids all over the nation. And some of the things I tell, especially my football players, is, number one, use the school. Don't let the school use you. Simple as that. Go there, get your education. That's the main thing. I had a kid that was talking about coming out maybe early. But my first question is, how far are you from graduation? I don't want to hear nothing about coming out early. How far are you from graduation? If you come out early, are they going to pay for you to go back to school? So never choose a school for a coach. And then the last thing is, whenever selecting a school, go somewhere you can see yourself living, like you said, 4 to 5 years, because that's usually a college stay. Most kids are not fortunate enough to leave school early to pursue their professional dreams. So you're gonna have to be at that school for 4, maybe 5 years if you're registered. So make sure that that's somewhere you can envision yourself. And like myself, I came, I stayed, and I never left. I love it. So.